Hello, community, and welcome to another Keeping It Real with Dr. Anita podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Anita Polite-Wilson, C-Suite Trusted Advisor, Board Director, and Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Consultant, helping members of the C-Suite and their teams reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Welcome to June, in which we celebrate Juneteenth, which was designated as a federal holiday in 2021 when the 46th president signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law, thanks to the efforts of Ms. Lula Briggs Gallow, Ms. Opal Lee, and many others. Today, I want to talk to you about the importance of Juneteenth and the 4th of July holidays in society and in the workplace. First, let's jump ahead to the 4th of July to provide context for Juneteenth. As you know, the 4th of July holiday celebrates the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, and signifies the birth of American independence. This day is noteworthy as it marks the day that 13 American colonies declared themselves a new nation, separate from Great Britain. It is a day of pride for Americans and symbolizes the country's fight for freedom and liberty. However, while the 4th of July held great importance for the Founding Fathers, it does not hold the same significance for all Americans. For enslaved people, the 4th of July was not a day of celebration. Instead, it was a reminder of the lack of freedom and the hypocrisy of a nation that professed liberty and justice for all, yet denied those rights to millions of enslaved people who were laying the economic foundations of this country. This, for me, is where Juneteenth comes in. Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day, is celebrated on June 19th and marks the day in 1865 when Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce that all enslaved people were now free. This announcement came 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and it took the end of the Civil War and the enforcement of the proclamation to finally free approximately 250,000 enslaved people in Texas. Juneteenth is an important American holiday because it represents a step toward the more just and equal society that was proclaimed on July 4th, yet was exclusive of African Americans. Juneteenth is a day for African Americans to celebrate their heritage and culture, and for all Americans to acknowledge the struggle for equality and the ongoing pursuit of liberty and justice for all. Liberty to live free without fear for one's life based on the color of one's skin, and justice for all those who are living while black and sometimes die because of it. Now let's talk about the importance of these holidays in the workplace. The 4th of July is a national holiday celebrated with fireworks displays from coast to coast. Most, if not all, companies in America recognize the 4th of July with a company-sponsored barbecue a day or two before a company-wide sanctioned paid day off. And while many companies may celebrate some history or heritage months, like Black History Month or Asian American and Pacific Islander History Month, few companies acknowledge or celebrate Juneteenth. This is a missed opportunity for companies to demonstrate their commitment to diversity, inclusion, and belonging. By acknowledging Juneteenth with hosted learning conversations and historically based educational events leading up to a celebratory barbecue and company-wide sanctioned paid day off, just like the 4th of July, companies can demonstrate their support for their Black employees and their commitment to creating a more inclusive workplace. It also provides an opportunity for education and reflection about how American capitalism was established through the free and forced labor of enslaved people and the ongoing struggle for economic and racial justice for all people in today's workplace. Now let's explore a few reasons why more companies in America don't recognize Juneteenth as a corporate holiday by giving all employees the day off. One reason may be that Juneteenth is a relatively new holiday to be recognized nationwide, and some employers may not be aware of its significance or how to celebrate it appropriately. Additionally, some companies may not see the value in recognizing Juneteenth, as they may not see it as relevant to their business or industry. Another reason why some companies may not recognize Juneteenth is that they may not have a diverse workforce or leadership team that understands the importance of the holiday to Black Americans. These organizations may not be aware of the historical significance of the holiday or the ongoing fight for economic and racial justice that it represents in the past, present, and future. However, there are many ways that all people can celebrate Juneteenth without trivializing its importance for Black Americans or alienating other members of society, without making it the work of Black Americans to educate other members of society about Juneteenth. One way is to educate oneself about the history and significance of the Juneteenth holiday by reading articles or books, watching documentaries or films, or attending educational events and webinars. Encouraging open and respectful dialogue about the circumstances surrounding Juneteenth and creating safe and inclusive spaces for employees to share their thoughts and feelings is critical to appreciating the significance of Juneteenth by all Americans. This can be done by setting ground rules for the discussion, such as listening without judgment, being respectful of different viewpoints, and refraining from personal attacks or inflammatory language. By promoting curiosity, along with open and honest exploratory communication, these discussions can be designed as opportunities to learn from one another and build stronger relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Growth happens when we choose to become comfortable with the temporary discomfort that leads to an ongoing process of raising our awareness in pursuit of personal growth that is evident in the ways we show up in society and in the workplace. It is important to recognize and honor Juneteenth as a celebratory holiday that both commemorates a significant event in American history and recognizes the ongoing struggle for economic and racial justice. By educating oneself, supporting Black-owned businesses and organizations, and participating in community events and discussions, all people can respect the significance of Juneteenth in ways that uphold its importance for Black Americans. We'll kick off this month's Real Conversation from the C-Suite with Dr. Erin Day, producer of Good Day in LA on Fox 11 KTTV, and talk about a variety of ways we can all participate in commemorating Juneteenth as individuals and as a society. In our first conversation with Dr. Day, he will share with us highlights of the top 3 Juneteenth celebrations he has covered throughout Los Angeles as the producer of Good Day LA and why they stood out for him. In our second conversation with Dr. Day, we're going to compare and contrast attitudes about celebrating Juneteenth and the 4th of July in America and the significance of both national holidays for all Americans, in spite of the fact that not all companies recognize Juneteenth with an official company-wide sanctioned day off. Finally, in our third conversation with Dr. Day, we'll explore what it might take to transform the prevailing attitude about Juneteenth from an opportunity to enjoy parades and cookouts to a time of reflection about the shared history of Juneteenth that is as much an American celebration as the 4th of July and apple pie. I'm looking forward to an introspective and informative Real Conversation from the C-Suite with Dr. Erin Day, producer of Good Day LA on Fox 11 KTTV, and I hope you'll come back to join us. In the meantime, to learn more about my services and resources, please go to my website at drnita.com. Remember to spell out the word doctor. While you're there, click the Keeping It Real podcast link at the top of the landing page to hear this show again or any past broadcasts. You can find me on your favorite podcast player, so please get in the flow. Follow, like, and overshare with any of your network, any of my Keeping It Real podcasts that helps you reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Until next time, this is Dr. Anita reminding you to stay blessed and keep it real.